as they say.
Search together, search together. IPSA. We're not just a name in a directory. Local minds with national synergy.
Welcome, bienvenue. My goodness, here we are again. It's another IPSA kind of magic with, of course, Hamish McClare of Search Convey, a fabulous Heather Poole Gleed of Shropshire Property Search, also chief exec. Tip my hat. And of course, Val Bennett of Home Information Searches, esteemed member of IPSA. What is IPSA, I hear you cry? Well, IPSA is the Association of Independent Personal Search Agents, and personal being the appropriate word. They don't just find you a search, they make it personal. They cut it down, they refine it, and they make sure that it's relevant just to you. I like to refer to it as the John Lewis effect. John Lewis don't provide you with everything, they provide you what they consider to be the best. And I think that's kind of what an IPSA member should do for you. But more about that later. Today's topic is an interesting one. And before we get into it, let me just quickly introduce it. It is revisiting council mergers. Where are we now? Well, Hamish, where are we?
Well, there's constant change, as we well know. The government is, it's several governments. I don't know whether it's...
Which one is it, Hamish? I can't remember. Are we on the government A or government B at the moment?
I really don't know. I lost track, actually. I went away for the weekend.
North or south? Is it is it the northern number 10 or the southern number 10?
Who can tell? Who can tell or dare to dream?
Well, at least we know it's number 10. We're sort of...
There we go. This is number 10.
As we sort of said, constant change, so one does not know. There is a number of mayors being developed. I picked up something earlier. We now have 16 mayoral districts. I don't know that they're fully operational, but councils are merging all over the place. They haven't quite done it here in Oxfordshire yet. They've been speaking of it. They're intending to sort of mix us rural chappies up with the City Council of Oxford, of all things to do. I mean, they've got some lunatic ideas already with 20 miles an hour in streets. You could only go 15 miles an hour on in the first place. But it costs money to put these signs up, so let's waste some money putting the signs up. Sadly, what it does do, it does lose very often, because the whole intent is to save money. So it very often loses for us those contacts that we had within the council areas. It does make it that much more important that we try and keep pace with what's going on. Now, the great thing is Heather keeps a record of these various things, but it's not just the councils that are combining together, becoming unitary authorities, becoming mayoral districts, but we also have something else to contend with, which in part actually complicates the issue too, because it's to do with the local land charges that the council would normally do. And these are being taken over one by one by His Majesty's Land Registry. I don't quite know what we're up to there, because no doubt our record keeper, Heather Poole Gleed, can actually sort of tell us about that too. But that causes an element of disruption. And it does actually bring us back to the great advantage of the membership, what the membership of IPSA can offer to people, in that it doesn't matter whether councils have been becoming unitary. It doesn't matter if the land charges are taking over. The consistency is the knowledge that each of the characters have within the membership. And we've got two great sort of members here. Val, I think we're actually into is it the 5th decade?
Oh, don't say that.
But it's a wee while. She's been doing it for a wee while now.
Just after the year old.
Yes, just after that. And Heather, of course. I mean, as chief executive, she is just a magnificent record keeper. So let us have words with both of the experts.
I feel like I need echo on this. The record keeper. Heather, apart from being chief exec and keeping everybody in line, the record keeper, well, it must play havoc with you when they create these unity authorities, when they absorb this into that, and people that you've built relationships over months, years, suddenly are no longer there, or at least their function being absorbed by someone else.
Yes, that happens quite a lot. And what we find when the councils merge together, it's often a financial decision. They decide that they can merge a number of district councils together, and part of that is that they will then lose some of the staff and get them to do more work. What does tend to happen though is it's the more experienced and more knowledgeable staff that choose to take voluntary redundancy or early retirement, leaving the less experienced staff in control. And I do remember back in 2009 when Shropshire Council became unitary, that was all the districts joined together with the Shrewsbury Town Council, and there were several members of staff left, and for the first couple of months, if there were any searches for one of the districts, they asked me to tell them how to do it, because whoever was left didn't have that experience. So, you know, there are problems like that. I think that's probably going to be less of an issue going forward, because so many councils are working towards migrating to the digital land register. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite such a big issue. But the problem we now have quite often is that if we want to contact somebody in the council, for example, if we need to do for a lender requirement an official local authority search, we can get the land charges from Land Registry, from their digital register, but trying to get hold of somebody to order your Con 29 can be quite problematic. And if there's a problem where maybe somebody's off sick and somebody else is off on holiday, you might wait weeks just to get a response to your initial email. So, you know, those sort of things are happening a little bit more often now.
Val, as sweet Hamish so carefully said, you have been in evidence for a small time. You must have seen all this. Is this a pattern that you see spreading out before? Does it happen get time and time again?
Yeah, there's always changes wanting to be made, and different governments and different councils think they can do it better. Primarily though, I really think it does waste an awful lot of money and an awful lot of people's time. I think maybe in the long run, yes, it will save money, I'm sure, but I don't always see it. All I see is that I have to go onto a different council's website, then I have to follow the instructions to try and find out how I do a search for a specific area within that unitary, because they're all different, and then you have to approach all the different departments because they're not unitary, they haven't joined together yet. You know, they might have a combined highways department, as a lot of the county councils do, but when it comes to land charges, planning, building regs, etc., they're not together. And so it does, in my opinion, create a lot of extra work, which I'm sure it must do for the councils as well, in the short term anyway.
Sounds like a flipping nightmare, Val.
Well, it is actually, yeah. I find it a nightmare because I can keep in my head a lot of how to do my own councils, etc. But
Right.
then when they make all the changes, and then nicely so, then we get new HMLRs added to the list, and you go, is that one on the list now? When am I doing that? When can I can only submit my inquiries up to a certain date. Then we have a month, 3-4 weeks where we can't submit any inquiries at all to a council because they're waiting to change and go on to HMLR. So then, but the Con 29 might be one of the unitary councils where, as Heather says, you don't know who you've got to approach, and when you do find out, they don't know what they're doing because the staff are different now, or they weren't the original staff. So it does become quite complicated if somebody, particularly if somebody wants an official search. I think nowadays that is quite a problematic area.
Yeah.
Well, it just seems to me, Hamish, that you've developed a relationship, you built up a lineage, you know exactly where to go, and then suddenly for no apparent reason, they throw all the balls up in the air, but don't actually make it into a full unitary. It's unitary in name only.
Well, I think the big problem is catching the balls as they land, because they do go all over the place.
Yes.
And I think councils do find it difficult. I mean, strangely, when Val spoke about 2009, I can't remember they were in particular years previously. We did get a number change over 2009. I think now they're just doing it bit by bit as they get round to it. I mean, Wiltshire, for example, they changed in 2009. 4 council areas, they still work out 3 different ways. They're all based at the same council, but they're 3 different ways. And there's a difference, there's a time difference between north, south, and central as to how long it's going to take to actually sort of get your searches back. And unfortunately, it rather depends. If you don't have a query, it sometimes works very, very well. I mean, one of the sad things I've found about Wiltshire, Luton have become this. Luton are preparing to actually merge. I don't know quite who they're going to merge with, or maybe it's just the fact that they're digitizing. But it's the difficulty is actually the speaking, because sometimes, I mean, in fact, we've got several councils that they're not working from the offices any longer. They're still working from home. They can't get them back to the office, so to speak to them. So you don't get confirmation. I mean, Heather hit on this. You don't actually get confirmation as to whether they've received the information or not. You just hope. I mean, Luton's a terrible one, because in actual fact, what happens, you can get up to 10 searches there, and you get all of them come back, including the one you sent out the previous day. But there's 2 missing. There should have been 12. And they somehow didn't, they say, oh, we didn't receive the email. That's 3 weeks later.
Sorry to interrupt. There's also an issue of pricing as well, because if you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 little councils all merging, they all charge different prices. So it might be under, let's say, Westmoreland is now a unitary, covers South Lakeland, and I can't remember the other 2. But so you kind of want to go, oh yes, we're going to do Westmoreland, but there's 3 different prices depending where your property is and depending which old council it came under. So there could be 50, 60, 70 pounds difference in the price that you're trying to explain to a solicitor. Well, it all comes under one unitary, so why is it a different price? And I find that quite disturbing as well. Or if somebody asks me and they send me a request for a search, then I have to go, well, I can't give a price because I don't know which actual individual council it is until I find that out and check on the postcodes, etc. Then do all the working out and then see exactly which one it is to know which price it is that I can give to my client. And the clients think that's really crazy, and they don't understand why we can't just give a price.
Yeah, because once a council is merged, you imagine that it should all be the same. I think it's the same with the North Yorkshire Council, isn't it? When I'll get a search in for somewhere in that area, and I just want to work out who I'm going to send it to within the IPSA network. So you go onto the Yorkshire Council, and it says put in your postcode, and then it tells you which part of the North Yorkshire Council that comes under. And that really shouldn't be a thing, should it? It should be, if it's unitary, it should be, this is who you contact.
The word unitary would suggest it all comes under one authority, but it sounds like it's unitary in name only.
Pretty much.
My goodness. It's very confusing. Val, as I've said, you must have spent a lot of time building up these relationships. When they fall away, what do? Do you scrabble around trying to work out what the new setup is, or do you revert to some other old method?
No, you've just got to work out what the new plan is and who's doing what and where and why and how they're doing it. And half the time they don't know how they're doing it either. That's the worst. Who's actually in the office anymore, or who's working from home, as Hamish said. So it does become incredibly complex. I mean, I remember, one of the older ones, I think, was Cheshire East and Cheshire West. When they merged many years ago, it was probably 2009 again. And they merged 3 or 4, different little authorities. But even now, occasionally, I get asked to do one of the do a search, please, and they give me the old name, and I go, that council hasn't existed for 15 years. You know, it comes under Cheshire East or Cheshire West, and that's it, because that has long gone. You know, but some people still insist on using the old original name. They might have an old search and they go, oh, it was Port Royal, Vale Royal, for instance, is one that regularly crops up. And you go, no, 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 it's Cheshire West now. But they don't know because they only use what they've got. And if somebody hasn't sold a house for 20 years, they've got old paperwork. The same with the land registry, the plans, the older ones that I like, that always said at the top exactly which council it comes under. And to me, that was always the absolute rule of where it came when your boundaries. And they say Vale Royal, or they say whatever it is in North Yorkshire. And then you've got to go, well, hang on a minute, what does that actually come under? Because that's somebody who sent you an old existing land reg plan and not sent you a new one. So a lot of complications, in my opinion.
Little tip for you, Val, that you might be aware of. There is a website called Find My Local Council. And if you put the postcode in there, it tells you the district and the county. So you're probably aware of that one.
Absolutely. But it is an extra
it is a nuisance.
10-second job you need to do. You think, oh, yeah, it's that council. And if you are old school and you do remember the old original council, you might not have it in your head that it's now part of such and such a unitary.
Exactly.
And then you're thinking, oh, well, it's such a council. And then you're looking on all your information going, but why is it not here?
Yeah. No, exactly.
It does sound a bit like an Abbott and Costello's joke. You know, who's on first? Anyway, Hamish, would you care to take us home?
Well, I have in my possession a wondrous book.
Uh-oh.
And it's dated 2008.
Wow. That's what we call.
Oh, nice.
I'm just looking to see if I've got it on my shelf here. I think I probably have.
Which is bloody useless. No, it's not actually. It is quite handy. The phone numbers don't tend to work very often, and nor do the sort of emails and stuff. But it does solve the challenges that Val was actually speaking about. But I mean, we do have this absurdity that it isn't unitary. They're not ready for it. And very often it's a bit like sort of land registry too. People are actually preparing for it, but when the date comes about, they aren't quite ready. And when you get a combination, as we had in Yorkshire, of land registry actually sort of taking over responsibility for land charges, as all of these places were coming in, they still haven't sorted it out. But to get that unitary authority, unitary really is a sort of misnomer. It's not unitary yet. And as I said about Wiltshire, how long ago was that, Val? You worked it out. Because we're now to 2026. So
15, 16 years. Yeah.
That's really getting on some. And we've still got the same. We've got Buckinghamshire, but we've still got to go to High Wycombe or speak to High Wycombe, and they've transferred their service over. Somebody else is doing it. It's not land registry, land charges any longer. It's the I can't remember what department that one is. But then you've still got Aylesbury, and you've still got Chiltern, which is taken over. So the thing is, there's a shambles. But the good news is the relationships that were built are still working, and of course, it's refreshing because when you do eventually speak to somebody, they're used to your voice, they're used to the way it used to be. And because the thing is, some of these poor souls, they really look forward to the visits that they got from the different sort of individual agents as they were actually sort of going around. And sometimes you had to listen to the life history since you last visited them. But it was good fun because it kept them sort of going, it kept them sort of jolly. But it is one of those things, and it's well worth remembering because it's something which continues to happen. And it is a reminder to anybody sort of out there that there are things of this particular nature that working with people who have a personal relationship with the councils are going to be able to obtain that information, not just quicker in many cases, but also much more effectively because they will refine the information too. They know that particular council area. So it's down to sort of keeping an eye on things. It will keep changing. We started off in my wondrous book. I'm sure it was something like 370 odd councils which were in there. We're now just around about 320. And speaking to the land registry, I think Jamie Winchmack said it was intended to be something like 275. So we've still got a way to go. And we've still got a way to go with people transferring, each of the councils transferring over to land registry as well. So it's continuous change. There's no way about it. And it's irregular now rather than on a regular basis.
Can I just jump in for 1 second and
You
just say, I don't want to make myself feel even older than I am, but this is the whole process of this takes me back. I don't know if you guys remember to when they wanted to start postcodes. And postcodes was an ongoing many year project that it started off, I don't know, in the 40s or 50s when you might have M26 and that was it. That was all you had. And they wanted to, and it took many years before it became actually sort of compulsory that you had to use your postcode on your letters. And I'm sure the whole process took about 50 years from start to finish, from when somebody decided, let's have postcodes, let's like the Royal Mail. And I don't know, maybe one of you want to look it up and see what the history of postcodes is, but I think that's a very similar thing, that these are works in progress, and they will take many years, and whether we like them or not, they will happen. And I say postcodes the same. I seem to recall in the 70s or 80s when it suddenly became
after the invention of the
compulsory.
wheel, I think.
But it became compulsory at one point that you had to put the full postcode on your mail. And everybody had to find out what the postcodes were, even though it had been going on for 30 or 40 years before that.
Well, I think worth mentioning also, and those of there are many people who aren't actually sort of members of IPSA. Within the week next Monday, we have our sort of it's our members' day, which is a great thing. We've had our conference earlier this year, so we've got members, and we're welcoming this particular time a new subject which we've never had anybody speak about before. Both Heather and I have met up with the sort of team. We're sending a land registry meeting when one of these guys actually turned up, and it's the wondrous UPRN, which may be something which could take over from postcodes. That's a unique property reference number, I believe it's meant to mean. And we've got somebody else coming to speak to us to let us know what's going on there. There's also big changes afoot in the water authorities, which is another thing which some of us actually sort of get involved with, and we're getting somebody to speak to us about that as well. So these changes, we do keep up with them, not just because of our own experience itself, through the various meetings that we arrange.
So when is that Members' Day, Hamish?
That's next Monday, Monday the 6th. And you ought to know, Gareth, because you're turning up.
I'm getting to that. Not only will you get all this excellent information, you get to meet the excellent Heather Poole-Glees, Hamish McClay. Val, will you be there?
Absolutely.
Yes, Val's good.
Yay! Excellent, good. And you'll get to meet me as well. I will be there, my guys, as a DJ, putting on some excellent tunes, including IPSA's own theme tune, where you'll actually hear from start to finish. You hear little bits of it either end of this podcast. So do come along. If you're an IPSA member and you're thinking, well, it's a long way for me to go, you're going to have a great time. You'll meet some excellent people, be fed well, and dance your feet off if you'll allow it. So please do come along. I think last one was amazing. Well, we had Mahesh dancing with his wife to Prince, I think. That was excellent. But to all of you watching, I hope you enjoy these as much as I enjoy making them. There's plenty more to come. This is the second of our 4 weekly property podcasts. We had construction matters yesterday, which was excellent. We've got tomorrow Property Quorum, a nice bun fight between property experts talking about things that are right now affecting property purchasing and also process. And on Friday, the indomitable Cladding Matters, which is one of our best viewed shows. Do come along for that. That is all to do about property safety. But until next time, please keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and in these troubled times, do look after your mental health. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Ooh, local skill, national connection. Ooh, independent, but never alone. Ooh, IPSA, where your professional